You can do traditional bench dips. They look something like this. Nothing terribly wrong with that, but we're not going to use those. We're going to step our game up. Literally, with these boxes. So maybe you have two 30-inch boxes laying around in the garage, maybe not. But I'm sure if you belong to a gym or if you go to a CrossFit functional fitness gym, they would have this setup. You can find something that's stable and a little bit taller. We are gonna take a pair of dumbbells and set them on top. That is gonna put our hand in a different position than just a flat press on the box, all right? Now, there's benefits to that if you're working some specialty gymnastics movement where you want this hand position to be flat, but on the dip bars, they're gonna be like this for the most part. That puts you in a little better position and a little less tension on the wrists. So, grab some DBs, place those on top of the boxes gently, and then that's gonna become our dip progression. So, we're gonna grab on to the DBs, and then we're going to get ourselves in that dip position. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to shrug down at my shoulders and bring my scapula up. I'm going to shrug up, pressing into those dumbbells. I'm also not gonna round my shoulders forward. I'm gonna pull and pinch them back. So, side angle position, I'm not here like a terrible mover. I am here and here, like a good mover, someone with good posture. All right, so shoulder blades pinch together and then pressed down. All right, so I hold this position when I dip and then I just kick those feet out slightly in front of me. Now I have space here. I have space for my hips. They're not constrained or confined by a bench or something behind me. So when I drop into that position, it can be a little bit more comfortable than that strained position where my hips are way out in front. All right, so dumbbells are lined up. Feet are slightly out in front. I like to go heels on the mat, and then I let myself drop through and then press up. You want to get a little bit more depth, you go slightly further out. Again, find that good position to start with. Let yourself drive down, get that shoulder a touch below the elbow, and then press back up. This is step one. You can use your feet. All right? It takes away some of the body weight, and it's kind of your gauge as to how you want to press into those. All right? If you want to make that a little harder, we just take these boxes, flip them down. Now we add some more of that body weight back in, set the dumbbells up, bring the feet out, press down, pull back, let myself drop through, and then press back up. It's a touch harder, all right? Now, that's still too easy, but you can't get the dip yet. Then what you can do is grab a box and start to elevate your feet. Elevate your feet. This will add on a little bit more body weight and will enable you not to be able to push into the ground or the mat as much, all right? So have my dumbbell set up, kick my feet up, and then I'm gonna let myself drop down and then press back up. Finish strong, keeping those shoulder blades pinched and pulled back, sit down, and then press back up. All right, coming into the side view. So now you can get an idea of how my hips drop behind the box a little bit and a little bit more of that depth and range of motion. So I kick my feet up, find that good starting position, down, pinched, let myself drop down, and then drive back up. That's about minimal depth. Hopefully, it felt like this. I got my shoulder about even with my elbow. Shoulder, elbow, about even. I want to try to increase that range of motion so my shoulder drops a little bit below the elbow. Please make sure you consult with a professional. Make sure your shoulder can handle this. It is really healthy. You don't have some labrum rotator cuff issues going on that will inhibit you from doing this or make those injuries a little worse. So I drop down, I press back, and then I'm working that range of motion. Can I get deep? Pause in the bottom if I want a variation, and then drive myself back up. Whew! It gets harder as you get deeper. It gets harder the more you elevate your feet or bring your feet down. Play with this variation on the box. Now, that range of motion is huge on the dip. It's going to promote mobility through the chest and the shoulder. So now, when you're going for that big box jump, you can sweep those arms back and then explode up onto that box. That's going to help. That range of motion is going to develop your jumping skills, believe it or not. If you're inhibited and you're blocked right here and you can't find this range, you're not going to be able to get enough momentum. Maybe your goal is to jump higher in a box. maybe your goal is to do dips. But as with everything, if you do them the correct way, they will transfer to other exercises you're doing inside the gym or that you're doing outside of the gym. So dip, powerful movement. If you don't have the dip yet on the dip bars and you want a different substitute besides a bench dip or using a band, this is a progression that you should use. Use the boxes, use the dumbbell set up on top, and then use this to elevate and get different levels on the box. Just one more example of how you can raise up that height a little bit to make it slightly more challenging. Now my heels are up on the box at a higher position, so it's gonna be slightly more body weight added. I'm gonna drop down and then press back up, all right? Eventually I'll have to get to a point where I can't just keep raising my legs up, and maybe I would flip the boxes and try to go into a traditional style dip. So you would go here with a 30-inch box. If you didn't have the dip bar set up and you just wanted to use that progression, you would go feet out in front of you to work that core position, and then you'd let yourself drop down, drop down, drop down. Heels would touch, and then drive yourself back up, finish with that press, all right? Now, I could elevate these boxes to about here, press the dumbbells on top. Now I'm even more above the ground. So here's yet another progression, all right? So you work the feet on the ground, then you start to elevate and raise the boxes. So here, I added about 3 or 4 inches. You have to think outside the box with these progressions. When you raise yourself up, obviously make sure they're stable, but you don't just continue to beat yourself up, not being able to do a full range of motion movement. You try to break that movement down so you have progressions. Now, I could just kick my feet back. No, you cannot see them with the box, and then I can get that range of motion as I drop down. But, okay, that's one way to do a dip, and this is another video, a little bit lengthy here, but feet out in front is going to activate so much more. It's going to train that hollow position, which is important in so many other movements. Whether you care about functional fitness, doing kipping pull-ups and toes to bar, or whether you're just outside in the real world. Obviously, we all want our triceps to look a little bit bigger. That will help right here, but then we're just taking that lower body component out, where this is like a true way a gymnast would train. Find that hollow body position, and then I drop myself down into that dip. My feet start to touch a little bit lower, and then I press back up, and I can regain the top portion, all right? Use these progressions. Give them a try. Let us know how they go. Good luck on your journey to a full dip.